Hey guys, Roger here, bringing you a quick reflection and a continuation of the series on the book I wrote previously called Giftonomics. We've touched already on kind of high level summary of what the book is about. We've touched on what gift is, how that applies to our work. So what I'd like to do is progress it forward and really offer a challenge to how we think about our current economic evolutions. Today, I'd like to think about currency. I'd like to talk about money, savings, and I'd like to take a step back and what I hope to do is reframe the way we think about money. So if you'll stop and go back to what I'll refer to as the very first economy. And the first economy is that of the family, is that of your nuclear family, if you will, your husband, your wife, and your children. And I think we do well to start here. If you think about how a husband cares for his wife, or how a wife cares for her husband or their children, same thing for the husband, cares for the whole family, not just the wife, but the children. They do so in a way that they provide for their family in just this totally free way. They expect nothing back from what they do. Or rather, that's the goal. The goal would be to go all out for your family, to go all out for your children, to go all out for your wife. And you do these things with expecting nothing in return, simply because you love them. You will identify them as your responsibility. You have responsibility for them. And then you do these things with love. What I'd also like to point out is that it's insufficient for purposes of finding meaning in work. It's insufficient to simply think of work as a toil or a suffering for your family, right? You can certainly see this, that, okay, well, I'm just working so hard, I'm working my knuckles to the bone, and I'm doing it because I love my family. Whereas I think it's better to know and to see that you are actually representing your family in what you do, in how you do it. So your family supports you, right? So that you can make a gift of yourself back to your family. And in this original economy, the first familial economy, if you will, this is how it works, right? People have different specialties even within the family. The wife provides for life-giving sustenance in different ways than the husband can. And so there's specialization even in the first economy. So then we move forward. Specialization continues to unfold, and even specialization in industries and types of gifts. So then we move to the barter economy. So we're still not to the point where we have currency, but rather people are able to build surpluses due to their talents, due to whatever it may be. I think we need to still carry forward this idea of how we have given and how we have worked for our family. We have done it. We do it in a free, in a total, in a life-giving way. We put all of ourselves into our work to provide for our family. There is no difference then in how you should work for others outside of your family, because we're all children of God. So I think this is where a lot of times we get lost. All of a sudden, when it's outside of our family, we then think very transactional, or the tendency is to think very transactional. And I would tell you that to keep the integrity of the gift intact, you can't. You have to think as though you are giving to others out of whatever surplus you have. You are giving to others still freely. You do not expect anything in return. The same thing, you don't expect anything in return from your family when you give to them. And I think this is a mind shift. This is not how we think about things. This is a substantial paradigm shift. Your family, in turn, supports you, as I mentioned earlier, supports you in making a gift of yourself to others. So really the gift you bring to the marketplace due to your surplus, even in the barter economy, represents not just your gift, but your family's gift. So your family supports you in this. what is also an interesting conclusion then is that the compensation you receive in return, or you may not receive, you may or may not receive, that compensation is not a matter of justice. These are matters of charity. So when you are withheld compensation, this doesn't affect the integrity of your gift to others. You can still make a full gift to others even if you get nothing in return. This is the goal. This is what we should strive for. Now, certainly you need things to survive on. You need other goods in a barter economy to survive on, but that's a matter of charity. And when you're withheld those things, that is not justice. That is charity at work. That you are experiencing a lack of charity. So, moving on, somewhere along the way, economies across the history of the time develop currency. The same rule applies to the gift as it did in the very first economy, in that you are simply giving of yourself, or that is the goal. The goal is to give of yourself. Whereas in a barter system, you gave of your surplus in trade for other people's surpluses. What currency does is currency allows us to actually have more transactions, faster transactions, in a shorter amount of time. So in that case, currency represents a practical expedient of the gift, is what I'll call it. Currency allows us to give of ourselves easier and faster, and more times in a short period of time. In that case, the same rules that we discussed in the barter economy in the first family apply. What you give is still given freely. And if you are withheld compensation, I still hold that is not a matter of justice being violated. That's a matter of charity being violated. So then the money you receive, if you receive currency in return for your work, that currency doesn't represent what you own. The currency represents, it's a symbol of the gift of others summarized in currency form. So your surplus then, if we are outside of the barter economy, your surplus of currency, your savings, if you will, represents others' gifts towards you. And so I think we need to stop thinking about what we own or how we own it or how much money we have or what our 401k plan looks like or how much money I have in the bank or what my trading account looks like. Those are not yours. That is not your money. That is gifts of others they have given to you. You need to ask yourself, what are you supposed to do with them? And certainly you need to care for your family. There's no doubt. Clearly, if those represent gifts of other people, those people want you to care for your family. The gift of themselves to you is to care for your family, to provide for them. But there is a common sense point where you have enough. You have enough. Those people do not give of themselves to you so that you can store up more for yourself. To a certain extent, yes, to the extent you need to be comfortable and survive. But there is a point where it is enough. So the currency you have, again, is a practical expedient of the gift of other people to you. I think that reaches, it's a very significant shift in how we think about property rights and how we think about currency and savings. And don't hear me say that I am I am a socialist or a communist by any extent. These are not things of justice. These are not things where governments need to get explicitly involved in regulations. This is a matter of charity. Governments do not have a place here to a certain extent, but they don't have a place here. Until we can convert hearts and convert minds, this will not be solved. To the extent government can regulate mandated charity, this is not charity. That's not charity, because then you're being forced to do it. So again, I'll pause and offer just a quick summary. The gift, again, a proper gift, as we see in God's gift, is free, total, and life-giving. So I think a couple of things we covered today in this quick reflection is that When you work, when you go to work, you represent more than yourself. You represent also your family. And just as you give of yourself to your family, you need to give of others in the same way, in a free, in a total, in a life-giving way. And that the return compensation to you is not a matter of justice, it's a matter of charity. You are not being robbed justice, because if you're truly acting like God acts in giving of yourself in your work, you do it freely. Now, you certainly need things in return, but we are all beggars, right? Just as Christ was a beggar, just as we are all beggars looking for charity. It's the same way with how you're compensated. This is a matter of charity. And lastly, I would just challenge how we think about what we own, how we think about our retirement plans, how we think about our savings, how we think about the money that we have to spend, how we spend our money. Do we really treat it as though we are spending other people's money? What would those other people want you to spend your money on? How would they want you to spend it? Right? The general consensus, if you are spending in a life-giving way, how are you spending it? What does that look like? So I'll stop there. I probably went a little long on the video, but it's an important topic and it's an important paradigm shift, I think, to offer. So I hope it's been helpful. I'll continue to post quick summaries of the book, and I will hope you have a great week. Thank you.